cloud. All right. So since we have fewer people, and we this was actually a really good week because of the mindset. So what I want to talk about before I talk about week 4, which is what we're doing, I want to kind of talk about week 1 through 3 and kind of see where everybody's at, since there's only 3 or 4 of you on the call, and kind of give me an idea of where you're struggling and where you haven't finished things that should have been done by now, but definitely okay that they're not, as long as you're aware that you're lagging behind. So let's go through that. Peter, I don't know that if you've been on the other calls, because we've had a lot of people, don't see everybody that gets on. So if any of you want to start, Peter, Ryan, Carolyn, Letitia, let me know what's going on for you.
I think I'm still delayed on on some of the items, but we're really making a lot of progress. And yeah. I can start my video. I just have no makeup on, so
that's all right.
I think I'm getting bogged down in some of the tasks that I've been an agent, you know, I'm more of an experienced agent, and some of the tasks where I'm like, oh, I'm going through it to help people like Ryan and people we bring on to train. Do you have any like advice or mindset for things where I'm like, I'm not necessarily too advanced for them, but it's like, I've already done these tasks?
Mm-hmm. Well, are you currently doing them to build your real estate sales business, or have you lost interest in building your sales business? And I totally understand if that's the case, but even me, when my revenue share was starting to ramp up, what I did, instead of say, oh, I can one day walk away from my sales, I go, look how much more credible I am with recruits, because I'm still actively selling and running a successful real estate team. And that's why this year, in my 42nd year, the last year, I would have imagined in my head that I would be beating all the years before. I'm using more and more of what's in Ramp, and my team is using more and more of what's in Ramp to create a bigger business. So if I were coaching you personally and I said, you know, we live in an abundant world called and I can have a successful real estate sales business and a successful rev share business or attraction business. But I have to commit to 2 things: 1 hour of lead generation a day for my real estate sales business, and 1 hour lead generation a day for my recruiting business. And of course that will grow. They will both grow, because as you get more comfortable, remember, it's a minimum of 1 hour. But if I decide to door knock, Carolyn, I rarely door knock less than 3 hours.
Yeah.
So are you, all you have to ask yourself, look in the mirror, forget everybody else on the call, forget even that you're trying to be an energetic example to Ryan and everybody else. Energetically, do they know that they're doing what you do, or only doing what you say? And
so that's the issue with some of the things, right? Because it's like open houses right now are just not in my lead pillars, like my personal lead pillars, and especially
with timing. And it's totally okay, because that's just one pillar.
Okay.
You can choose other pillars, but when I saw things really starting to change for me energetically, both in my recruiting and my business, is when I got my ass back to work. And I'm not, like right now, I'm not door knocking, I'm not doing open houses, but those in the past have always been 2 of my major pillars. Right. So if I'm not doing that, what am I replacing them with? Well, I'm working on my referral business, my top 50, my SOI, more than I ever have in my entire life. Shauna, that's just getting on the call, is the team leader of my team, but she's 21 years in the business, and she's the one constantly reminding me. She's now become a voice in my head. Like if I start to think about something, I go, what would Shauna be telling me like right now if she were coaching me rather than running my team? And even though I'm the one who brought her into real estate 21 years ago, and I'm the one who trained her, she went on to kick butt in several different areas that I never did any. Like she did REOs at a high level. She ran offices. She did everything. So for you, just be able to face yourself. Don't say, oh, I'm not doing this. Well, you're doing something, right? And even lead generating for your recruiting business is still doing something. So energetically, you're showing up is what you need to do. So I don't want anybody getting, especially you, getting lost in, I'm not doing enough. You just ask yourself, am I doing something? Am I energetically moving and realistically moving things along? One of the reasons I love this week so much, I don't know, did you get to the videos for week 4, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay, so the last 2 videos, were almost alike. It was Cleve Gaddis, who's a longtime friend of mine from Georgia, talking about how to hold yourself accountable, like how to kind of give yourself a slap upside the head. And then Verl goes into the wrap up, and it's the same thing, right? He's like, why aren't you doing these things? You just have to get behind it. And that's where the book comes from. So good for you, really, for being honest and open. And remember, you can always text me directly, but I think you're doing an amazing job. You just have to give yourself a little credit for that. So.
Thank you. Yeah, I was getting bogged down in the details of like, well, this part isn't one of my lead pillars, and like, how do I face that? So,
that's the whole thing. I don't know if you remember going through the business plan workbook. And by the way, I remind you all, guys, that the business plan workbook 1 hour is on my free Friday coaching call next Friday. That's 9 a.m. right before this call. Good opportunity for you to kind of go over what you did in the workbook and really review it and get what you want out of it. So please tell your organizations that also. All right.
Perfect. Thank you.
Good. Yeah. My pleasure, Carolyn. Ryan, how about you, buddy? Everything going all right? I mean,
I think
you have
Carolyn, touching on what Carolyn's saying.
Carolyn's standing over you with a whip.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I always look at her as my accountability partner, and I think it's not fair to either of us because we're at different levels. Right. And it's like, she feels bad that she's not doing open houses. But I remember 3-4 years ago where she was doing 4 open houses a weekend. Yeah. And I'm like skating by on her success a little bit. I'll raise my hand and like, I could be working harder, but I see her over the hump. And I think I'm realizing through all this is like, I need an accountability partner that's at my level of grinding.
Okay.
Because I'm doing myself a disservice by not holding myself accountable as much.
Okay. Well, remember, accountability partners aren't about the goals being the same or the level being the same. It's about, I always like to remove the word accountability and put in the word awareness. Your accountability partner's job is to make you aware of what you said you would do versus what you did, period. That's all. It's not about comparing. It's like when I'm talking to people building a team and they go, I want to hire an assistant. I go, let me show you how to do that. And they go, no, I just need somebody that's the opposite of me. And I always want to say, no, that's wrong. You don't even know what the opposite of you is. The assistant job is designed in a certain way. So it doesn't matter what you are. It matters what the assistant needs to be. It's not opposite of you. What you're thinking is, oh, I suck at that. No, you don't. You just don't have time for that. That's all. So it's the same thing here. So it's really not about who the accountability partner is. It's about their ability to non-judgmentally. So let's say I'm your accountability partner and I say, hey, Ryan, so good to be able to talk to you today. And I can't wait for my turn, but we always start with you. So I wrote down that you said you were going to knock on 150 doors this week and that you were going to make 25 total calls to your sphere of influence and 10 calls into your top 50. How'd you do? Now let's say you say, oh, I only did 80 doors and I only did 15 phone calls and only 5 top 50, whatever. Here's what accountability isn't. Ryan, what are you, a freaking loser? What? You didn't do anything you said you do. That's not it. Okay, so now you just said that and they were all less. Great. Thank you so much and congratulations on what you did do, Ryan. Can you tell me, what did you learn in the process that allows you to look back and say, I said this, but I did this? Is there disappointment? Did you learn something about time commitments? Tell me that, and share a story. Now we're just talking so that I, as your accountability partner, is becoming more aware of what you're learning, and maybe I'm learning from that too, but also you are stating out loud that you were aware that you committed to 150 doors, but you thought you could do 150 doors in an hour and a half. And when it took 3 hours to get to 80 doors, you were like, holy cow, who knew, right? Yeah. So now let's say you said that. Well, Rick, I just didn't realize how long it would take to knock on 150 doors. People are answering the door and they're talking to me and time's going by and I'm thinking about the number of doors instead of my conversation with the person at the door. So I would tell you, great. That's so cool that you experienced that. Tell me, Ryan, now that you know that, what number of doors will you commit to for next week? Now you're a much more aware, right? It's the same thing with Carolyn. Carolyn's beating up on herself because she's not doing that particular task. It's not about that task. It's about lead generating. I don't care whether you're lead generating, because the universe and the world and God, they all see that you've committed to doing something. And the more you do it, the more you get returns. Remember when we were talking to you last week and that other said, oh, the other guy came on and said, oh, I was making these calls, but I got a referral from way over here, had nothing to do with the calls. That's just the alignment of the universe and the world to I'm taking activities and right.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing it on my own sales team. You know, like we look at Leslie and Patty and Larry and Morgan, the more they're committing to following up with people, the more leads are coming in. It's crazy. So it's really, really great for you that you're doing that, but you get to pick the accountability partner you want. And I often say, if you are, and I mean this respectfully, but if you're sleeping with your accountability partner, it's not a good idea to have them as accountability partner, because you're like, honey, I got a little busy. Can we skip the accountability partner? No, it doesn't work that way, right? So I am never the accountability partner for Casey. Instead, she's more like the coach for me, and then I try to be the coach for her in her side of the business. So it's works out that way. So I might consider you not doing it with Carolyn, not because she might be at a different level, but because you guys are very intimately involved in other ways.
The relationship definitely changes. You know, I'd be lying if I said it didn't change the dynamic between, you know, working together, right?
Yeah. In November of 2000 and in October of 2019, Casey was home. She's home most of the day, but I was doing some EXP recruiting, and I hung up the phone and she came up to me and said, what the hell was that? Exactly like that. And now, come on, do you want to hear that from the woman you sleep with? I don't know. I didn't want to hear it from the woman I slept with, but then my coach, who is my wife's business partner, who I was paying to coach me on becoming a better recruiter, we had our call that afternoon. I'm like, this is what Casey said. And she goes, well, what was painful about it? Was she right? Did you was it painful because you knew instantly what she said had credibility? And I said, probably. Well, that woman ended up coaching Casey and I on how to work together. And my organization grew by 500% since Casey and I have been working together. So it's really a matter of learning some of those things about how to get over them and stuff like that. So good for you guys. All right. Christopher, saw you came on the call. Mike, Peter, Letitia, Larry, Leslie, Shauna, anybody have comments that they want to tell me about their experience? Now, we really haven't jumped into week 4 yet, but we were talking a little bit about what's our experience been. Yeah, Shauna, I heard you say that, but I don't have anybody in my waiting room. Maybe she's on, maybe she's just on the regular link instead of the ramp link. So.
This is Letitia. I have some comments if you.
Yeah,
Ryan,
cool. Go ahead, Letitia.
All right, perfect. Ryan, if you, I will volunteer to be your accountability partner if you want. I have been a trainer in pharmaceutical sales for 10 years and then actually coached a team. Like I have a different business where I coach a team. So I'm very non-judgmental. But so you can talk to Rick about me if just put that out there. But how I feel right now, Rick, is a little bit like in that movie Bambi, when Bambi's born and he tries to stand up and then he falls down and then he tries to stand up and falls down.
Okay, guys. Yeah, hold on, guys. I think I'm on the wrong link. So I'm getting a lot of text messages. So do you guys all have the ramp link?
Yeah, you're on the 10 o'clock one.
I am. Okay. Well, let me just see real quick.
They are, oh, no. We are on the 9 a.m. one.
Yeah, I had to sign in through your personal room.
Okay. Everybody jump off and get on the other one a bunch, but okay.
God,
I'm gonna have to jump on that. That's why there's so few people on. That is totally my bad. So, all right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.